G'day guys, so I've put together a little presentation on area and perimeter. This is just going to cover some of the basic shapes of area and perimeter, and hopefully it will be of some assistance to you. I'm going to be starting off with perimeter, and then I'll touch on area in a separate video. Right, so what is perimeter? Perimeter is the total distance around a shape, or it is the total length of the border of the shape. In circles, the word for perimeter is circumference. So it's pretty much the same thing, it just has a different word known as circumference. And perimeter, since it is distance, it will be measured in either centimeters or meters or kilometers, depending on what unit is required of you for a particular situation. And there's just a nice shape with or different shapes with perimeter. Like calculating perimeter, how do we do that? For a square specifically, remember that you have to add all the lengths of all the sides together, and for a square all the sides are equal in length. So basically you can take one of the sides and multiply by 4. There we have a square, and on the square you'll also see a couple other symbols. These lines represent the sides and the fact that the sides are all the same length. This symbol over here shows that these two sides are perpendicular, which means they are 90 degrees. Same with the side over here. So for a square, all the sides that touch each other are perpendicular to each other. Okay, so we are interested in perimeter, and if one side is 3 centimeters, all 4 sides are 3 centimeters. This is how you calculate the perimeter. You add all the sides together, 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 in this case, or 3 times 4, which is 12 centimeters. Alright, so moving on to the next shape, a rectangle. Add the length of all the sides together, same as a square. Opposite sides are equal in length for a rectangle. Not all the sides are equal in length like a square. That's one of the differences. The longer sides are called length, and the shorter sides breadth or width. Either one is fine. So in this rectangle over here, the breadth is 3 centimeters and the length is 5 centimeters. Notice that these two sides, the opposite sides, have 2 stripes there, and these two sides have 1 stripe, just signaling that those two are the same length and those two are the same length, and they are perpendicular once again. We want to calculate the perimeter, so you add the length of all the sides, so it's the length plus breadth plus breadth. Or we could just say length plus breadth and you times by 2. So the length is 5, the breadth is 3, and if you add that together you get 8, you times it by 2, you get 16. Pretty simple so far, I think. Triangles, obviously you get different types of triangles. You get a scalene, equilateral, etc. But pretty much the same concept for all triangles when it comes to perimeter. Add the length of all the sides together once again. Same for all triangles. This is just a simple scalene triangle. In other words, all the sides have different lengths. And yeah, like I said, you just add all the sides together. It's very simple for triangles. That's 17 centimeters. The one that is probably the most difficult of the lots is a circle, because it includes a little symbol that is not all that common to you guys most of the time. So like I said before, the perimeter for circles is called circumference, and to calculate circumference we use pi. That is just the symbol for it. The actual value of pi is an irrational number. It's 3,14, and it obviously just carries on into infinity, and there's no pattern. That's why it's an irrational number. I'm not going to explain how pi came about just now. I might do that at a later stage. But you just need to know that there is a function on your calculator to obtain this value of a symbol, which you can then use for the circumference of a circle. Multiply pi and diameter to calculate the circumference of a circle. If we have a circle there and we draw a line through it, through the center of the circle, so that line goes through the middle of the circle, that line is known as your diameter. Okay, and diameter is double your radius. So if I had to halve this distance over here, I would get the distance of the radius. And the diameter is 10 centimeters for my example over here, so the radius will be 5. Now if I want to calculate the circumference, like I said, you multiply pi times the diameter, and that would be pi times 10, which is 31.41 centimeters. It could also be, maybe sometimes they don't give you the diameter, they just give you the radius. All you do then is you times the radius by 2 and then times by pi, and you'll be able to get your circumference of a circle. Now sometimes you get shapes that are multi-sided, also known as polygons, and they can have different perimeters. There's really no limit to the diversity of shapes that you can make with combining these basic shapes like a square and a rectangle and a triangle and so on. So we'll just have a look at an example. You need to be able to use the basics of perimeter, like we've just covered, to work out the perimeter of these shapes. And here's an example. They give us the shape here. It's not any basic shape, it's a combination of two shapes, basically two rectangles forming an L shape. They give us the length of some of the sides, but not all of the sides. So in order to calculate the perimeter, we will have to work out those sides. So there's obviously a way of doing that, bearing in mind that all of these lines are perpendicular to each other, so they are forming 90-degree angles. So that makes it possible for us to find these unknown sides. So if this side here is 9 centimeters and that side there is 2 centimeters, then we can work out this unknown side by subtracting 2 from 9. And the same is true for this side over here. If we know that this side is 10 centimeters and that is 6, then we can subtract 6 from 10 to get 4. So that's how you get those unknown sides. Now you simply just add all the sides together to calculate the perimeter, and that would be 28 centimeters. That's not too tough an example. Another example, now we have a semicircle and a rectangle combined in the shape over here. For the semicircle, because it's a semicircle, it's a half circle, we would have to work out the circumference of it and of a normal circle and divide by 2 because it's half a circle. So still pi times diameter, but now we divide by 2, and in this case diameter is 12 centimeters, so that gives us the circumference of the semicircle. Then we have this shape over here, which is a rectangle. The length of the rectangle will be the same as the diameter of the semicircle, which is 12, and the breadth is 7. So, but remember that we don't have a complete rectangle here. We only have this side, and this side. There's no side there because it's inside the shape. So there's only 7 plus 7 plus 12. The other 12 has fallen away. And that gives us 26. So now to calculate the total perimeter, you just add those two together and you get that answer over there. Right, gentlemen, that is the basics of calculating perimeter. Like I said, there are a diversity of polygons out there, and there's no way I could cover all the different types of shapes, but you need to apply the basics of perimeter in order to calculate the perimeter of diverse shapes like that. I hope that this video on perimeter is helpful. My next video will be on the area of shapes. Cheers.